Megatron, Soundwave, Frenzy, Rumble. Sorry, I'm a little starstruck at the moment.
And guy at the airport, please hold handrail and stand to the right. If you wish to pass, do so on the left.
All right.
Thank you all. Nice. Thank you for that nice round of applause. Excuse me for wearing a jacket.
I know. Be comfortable. Be comfortable. Have a seat. I'm gonna have a seat too with you.
Yes. So nice to see you all. For those of you who were standing in lines today, thank you so much and apologize. Wish we could just go fast, but yeah. Cool.
It's as fast as can be expected, right? Everybody's excited.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, you had the house packed today and yesterday.
Cool.
It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and get right into it.
First, I would like to say again to everybody, thank you so much. People have been so nice, and it's a vote. Can I ask a couple of questions?
You sure can. Floor is yours.
How many people are from Nashville? Okay, and how many people are from out of town? Awesome! I love Nashville, I love the Nashville people, but isn't it amazing to see how we, as a Transformer community, come together with this? Wow! Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this started.
Okay.
Yep. First question. Yep. Early in your career, you started out as a stand-up comedian and an impressionist.
Yes.
Before going into on-screen acting and voice acting, can you tell us a little bit about that transition of going into those new realms of your life?
Sure. When I first went out to California, I went out there to go to school, to college, and so it was pretty quick after high school.
Sure.
I missed one summer where I worked at a television station in Denver. And you're going to have to tell me to stop at some point because I tend to just blah, blah, blah. But at this television station, I was the foreman, so I carried the cables and the cameras would move and do the news and all that. It was so much fun. We loved the job and we made a mess of it many times, but it was a lot of fun. Okay, I gotta tell you one story. I promise I'll move along. But back in those days, we had these pieces of cardboard, and they would put the pictures of whatever the story was about on this cardboard, and then they put a little piece on the tape on the cardboard. And there'd be like maybe 5 to 10 of those pieces on an easel. And then they'd have a camera on the news guy, and he'd be doing the story. And then I, as a floor man, would be on another camera with the easel. And he'd be doing the news here, and then they'd say, "There was a terrible snowstorm in Buffalo." And then they'd go over to me, and there'd be a picture of Buffalo, and they'd shoot camera 2, and you'd see the snowstorm. I mean, this was a long time ago, remember? So, quite a lot of stuff like that. So, you see the still picture of the snow, and then they go back to the news guy and talk about something else, and then I would pull the snow away and get ready for the next picture. Well, he'd be going, and then there was a bus accident here in Denver, actually, and then the bus picture is there, and they came up 2, and then there was supposed to be another quick one, and I pulled that and caught 2 at the same time. So I didn't have time to get it off the floor and get back to the next story. He's talking about somebody swimming in the river, and we're back at a snowstorm in Buffalo. It was very dangerous. Anyhow, that got me interested in getting out of town. And I went to school, and then I started doing stand-up comedy in local clubs. And one time I was working in a place called Ledbetter's, and a guy came in from Irwin Lacey Advertising Agency, and I was doing dog and cats on the stage. All this stuff. And afterwards, he came up and he said, I'm doing a voiceover commercial, and I'd like you to be the voice of the dog. And of course I said, well, what's a voiceover? And there's a legal. So that's how I got my actual first voiceover job at doing a commercial, was by doing stand-up comedy. So that's how that kind of started. Oh, and to continue on my story. See, I told you it would be a long story. You guys can cut at any time too. Right! I have children at home.
It won't happen, I promise.
But really, to finish out how the transition worked, his fiance was working for the network, and I think it was ABC, and they were casting a show called Scooby-Doo. So she said, and also I'm doing blah, 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 would you have your agent send you for audition at Hanna-Barbera? So I ended up going into Hanna-Barbera and auditioned for Freddy. And I wanted to do Shaggy because he was the funny guy, and Casey Kasem wanted to do Freddy because he was the serious guy. Now, you've probably heard the story before, but I'm just being a little redundant. So anyhow, I ended up getting Freddy, which is basically me. Hi, this is Scooby-Doo. Hi, no, you're Freddy. It's my voice, Frank Welker. This is Scooby-Doo. That was my long-term answer. I promise.
Nice, very nice. Oh my goodness. So, there's some aspiring voice actors out here. What are some jewels of wisdom that you can pass on to them going through their journey into voice acting?
Well, it's a very difficult business. I know it probably appears to be easy, just to get up and make noises or act goofy and do voices. But it's become so competitive because there is an awful lot of talented people out there who now see this as something that they can do, and it's a great business. So, first thing I would say is be prepared to have a tough go. I mean, it's like being in the NFL or whatever, anything that you want to do. But you can do it. If you believe in yourself, you have the talent, and you're honest with yourself, sure. Now to sort of give yourself ammunition, read everything you can get your hands on. I mean, books, plays, just reading is food for the mind, and it also helps your imagination for characters, and it gives you a basis of knowledge that you can also use. So one of the things that I've struggled with most, because I was such a juvenile delinquent that I should have been studying and reading more. So cold readings are major important. Even now with Zoom, a lot of auditions are by Zoom, and you want to be able to read that copy. So when somebody hands you a sheet of copy, you don't necessarily have time to study like tree, you got to read it and say, okay, you're a teenager, and his name's Bob, go. Well, if you're struggling over the lines and the words, it makes you look like you can't act. But if you just pick it up and you read it and it's beautiful, right away you get a head start. And then they'll say, okay, well, Bob, that's really good. It's playing Bob. Now make him a little older. Well, now you can do that, and you're not struggling over the words. But if you're not a good reader, and I will tell you, Jim Cummings, yes, fabulous. I mean, he can pick up a sheet from Brad Burger. Guy can pick up that copy and read it straight away. And Greg, he may not be right for that character, but they're going to say, well, the guy can act. Because number one, he can, and number two, he can read. So I would say that's really important. And then once you get past that, read plays, and now you're expanding your repertoire. So read all the characters. Read the ladies, read the kids, read the old people. I mean, everything you can, and try and create those characters if you want to do broad-based performing. So, for example, on I think it was Animaniacs. I remember doing several women on that show. I did Carnival Junior Child's character, and as soon as I no basket. Yes, that was like I couldn't drink the wine like everybody says. But so that's a character you can use and you can change it. But I mean, they actually used me doing a woman in the show, and also, well, anyhow. But it helps you create all of your characters if you do read different. And you know, kids, like, right, sure, that's a great idea, or whatever, Well, we don't know. Once upon a time, there was a small man, So read plays, and then if you're interested in doing a commercial, that's really easy. We're working here. Oh, you'll see newspapers and magazines, and you can take those commercials and read those. So those are a couple of things I would say is read. And keep a good imagination. I mean, let yourself be free. Don't limit yourself to just who you are, because this is a world where you can be anybody you are.
Just let it go. Just let it go. Just be yourself, basically.
Yep.
All right.
I know that was broken and it was very you guys are really great.
They're here for you.
Good. I just laughed.
I got to talk about Wally Burr. I got to know Wally Burr when he was with Rest in Peace, and he is a very, very interesting character. I got to ask you a question about him.
Sure.
You all have a history, a great history. I love it when he tells stories about everyone that he's worked with, and I love hearing stories about him from other actors. Could you give me one, just an anecdote of your experience with Wally Burr?
Gosh, there's so many, because I mean, you're right. He was a very interesting character, and he worked. I will tell you this: he worked harder than probably any director I know. He's just slaved over the scripts, writing intonations, and sometimes to the actor's detriment, because he would have it exactly written out exactly what he wanted. So you, as an actor, you like the freedom of bringing your performance, the way you would read the line, because nobody is going to read the line exactly the same. We'll all read the same line, we'll read them different. That's the fun of it. And that's sometimes why you get hired, is because of your crazy imagination and what you bring to the part. And so Wally over-accentuated everything. And his version was fantastic, but it may not be your version. So sometimes you would have to struggle and say, I don't know, that doesn't feel quite right. And he said, but I wrote it that way. And then we said, but you didn't write the script. I'm sorry, I was just, last night, it was late at night, yeah, you do it. But he let you do it your way, and then if he liked it and it was honest, he would use it. But he gave you such a great highway to work with, and the way he worked on it was just unbelievable. And his directing one time, you may have heard this story, I have told it before, but it was always fun trying to make Peter laugh. And Michael Bell, who is very naughty, And some of our other fellow thespians, when we worked in the Transformer sessions, there was so much fun. But you know, Wally would be working on the script, and he would turn off the speaker so he couldn't hear us. Obviously, so sometimes when he would start to give a direction, and he would turn off the speaker, then I would say something to Peter and make him laugh, and then Wally would come back on, and Peter was going. So this would happen when he gave a direction. So Wally said, "Okay, Peter, on 3, we want you to say blah, 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 blah." And it was like he wasn't listening to it because he was listening to me. So he'd come back on, and Peter would be laughing at it. This was great joy. This was great. Basically, it was causing havoc was a lot of fun. But Wally was very unique, very intelligent, and hardworking director. I'm glad I had an honor and privilege of working with him.
Speaking of that, I also heard you were quite the character. I know you were telling a little bit of, you know, your little shenanigans in this studios and whatnot. But man, it's like every voice actor I've always talked to, Dan Gillisan, I'm not trying to name drop or anything like that, both Dan Gillisan and Greg and all the rest of them that worked with you in the original series. There was always some shenanigans going on in the studio, and it was just a funny thing to hear. But I want to go on, you know, I can talk this too, so you know.
I like it. Here we go. We'll keep you guys here till 1 in the morning.
But I want to get into the next question, and then, you know, it's basically who they want to hear about too. Let's talk about Megatron. Okay. I'm gonna read this exactly the way I wrote it. So I don't want to go off script with this at all. Okay. When the role initially came to you, outside of how Wally wanted you to play him, what did you add over the years to the character of Megatron that you like, that you say, yeah, I own that?
Well, first, I'm very happy with Megatron and being able to create a character that was the first. In other words, that to create a character from the very original is very fun and satisfying for an actor. And Megatron was great fun because he was living within my vocal cords, and I never really found a home for him. And then I added things. So when it was first the voice, again, it was kind of okay. Well, so I was playing with it, trying to find something. And excuse me. So there was a lot of this character, I called it the Cave of Wind. So I had that lived in there.
The Cave of Wind.
Cave of Wind. Okay. I am the Cave of Wind. So trying to get multiple voices, and then trying to get the attitude. And that's what, you know, Wally would direct you. He'd say, okay, at this point, and we mutually agreed that Megatron, even though he was super evil, wouldn't be screaming all the time. But when you did, you really knew he was there. Yeah. And we wanted to feel that he would move. So I think that it was a mutual kind of blending of ideas when it came to the dialogue. And I think probably toning him down a little bit and then exploding when we needed to was kind of came along as we went along. And then we got to Prime, the Megatron for Megatron.
I don't think that was the other time
anymore.
I think that was the other time.
Prime, yeah, was a lot of fun because we went from the flat animation to the CGI, and it was so much more subtle. and you could see the mouth moving. So then, Megatron started becoming big, but not so screamy, and I could place more things in his mouth. You know, it was really kind of fun. And again, he was transforming. So, thank you. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons.
I feel like I need to move back for a second.
That's always so much fun to do. So now, as we move into Prime, I'm Megatron. I'm Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. And we're going to the feature, and the feature got even more because it was bigger. So, I'm Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. We are all Megatron, leader of the Decepticons.
I have to tell you, I think my best version of Megatron came out of Transformers Prime. Woo! I love it. I love it. Y'all did too. So,
well, you know, we've been talking about, we sure would love to see, and of course, if there's any letters that put Hasbro, it couldn't be a bad idea.
Oh, let's get something started.
But we would love to see a full-length feature, that CIG version of Prime. I think that would be spectacular.
Yes!
Because if you all tell me how y'all felt about it too, in the end of Transformers Prime, Predator's Rising, that was the last set, he lost his thirst for, you know, being, it's kind of like he lost his thirst for being evil. So I understand when you say, you know, hey, let's get them to, you know, do something else, because it's like you want to see that next part of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. But here's what. Okay, so let's do something else. Because I'm telling you right now, the moment I say this, it's going to get crazy. The moment I do this, it's going to get absolutely crazy. I'm looking at the clock too. So. We're going to take questions from the audience. I got a mic right there. If you want to come and ask Mr. Frank Welker a question,
please.
Yeah. Now, I need to say this as well. I need to say, see, I told you. I need to say this too. We're kind of have time restraints at the same time. So if I say we gotta get ready to cut it, don't get mad, don't come see me in the hallway, don't come looking for me later, say, I wanted to ask my question, you didn't let me. Hey, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and hear from your fans.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Nice.
Pleasure to be here with you. When you were working on the 86 movie, it was very different than the cartoon in the sense that Megatron was killing Autobots. Did you feel like when you got to acting that way as Megatron that sort of the chains were taken off and you could just, or did you feel like, I don't know if I'm digging this, how did you feel about the killer Megatron when you got to play that in the 86 movie?
Well, that film was pretty loud and crazy and interesting in a lot of different ways. I think I was a little surprised, and I was just kind of so into it, in shock of it, but I think I was kind of, maybe had a little bit of feelings going both ways, because I was kind of enjoying the moment, and really going out there and, working with Orson Welles and all that. But then when we lost Peter, and that was neither of us had any idea. And that kind of brought me back down to like, whoa, is this such a good idea? But yeah, so I had both of those feelings. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
The moment when you say die out loud, it's like, okay, Megatron's unhinged now.
Yeah, exactly. He is definitely out there, that's for sure. It was like Megatron and Red Bull.
Let's keep it to one question each, okay? And let's make it quick.
Or you said earlier, like, or pretty much just unmistakable war. Anyway, sorry. Hi, just say it's nice to see you. And if you were to, if there was another season of Transformers Prime, Hasbro, please listen. Would you love to return as, like, say, a cameo or like any other character? Would you love to see?
Other than Prime, you mean? Or, I mean, other than Megatron?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have done, I think, some side characters in Prime, but I don't think I would come back unless I was Megatron.
Woo!
Hi, Mr. Welker. Thanks for taking my question. Actually, I had two, but the one guy had my question, so I'll just have the one left, because I had a backup.
We can share questions, it's
yeah.
okay.
I noticed a weird quirk in the first miniseries of the Transformers that your name is mysteriously absent from the credits. Do you have any insight or enlightenment as to why that was done, or were you just like, I'm not sure if I'm good with this, or what was that?
Let me speak to my agent.
Yeah, the first G1 three-part miniseries, for some reason his name wasn't on the credits.
He's bowing out because he wasn't my agent at the time. Have you ever seen a cop out before? Well, that's a cop out.
Somebody was used to money somewhere.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this, and I think it was purely a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, and the studio was profoundly sorry. Not enough to give me a raise, but yes, you are correct, and I do remember that, and it was just a mistake. And believe it or not, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's not all those years.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
amazing you got that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi. Obviously, one of the most memorable parts of the original movie was Optimus' big montage where he gets the power ballad music and everything. I was wondering if you had a chance to add a power ballad rock music scene for Megatron, what song you would have wanted to have eternally associated with Megatron?
Who let the dog out? Who let the dog out? Who let the dog out?
That was,
Hi.
People that you really enjoy working with, like, and it's like cowboys, and it's old and new, without telling you, in your career.
Do people enjoy doing the voice acting? I'm sorry.
Like, who are some of the people you really enjoy working
The characters enjoy doing.
what other voice actors do you like work with? Like, people that you work with?
Other people, other
yeah,
voice
she says
actors.
other people that you work with.
Man, that's a great question, and there's so many. And I mean, this is not politically correct, but there are so many great actors I work with. Obviously, Peter, Greg Berger. I mean, all those actors are just so much fun to work with. Let's see. I mean, of course, now I'm not going to think of anybody, but Gray Delisle, she is just absolute delight. All the people on Futurama. I mean, there's just so many. But that's one of the great things about my business is most of the people you work with are just, great people. You become great friends. But now with COVID, almost all of us work at home. We've built studios or whatever, and it's all Zoom and recorded, so you miss that social part of it. And I mean, I love going to work, now it used to take me about 45 minutes, and now it takes me 45 seconds. Unless there's congestion in the kitchen. Then I take the dining room off ramp and come around through the garage in 50 seconds. But seriously, that's my joke. But seriously, that part of it I do miss, the social part of it, because there's a lot of great actors. So thank you. Thank you.
We can take a couple more, but we can't get to everybody, so if y'all can just go right through them. Just go right through them.
Alright, so like he said, I'm gonna make this real quick.
Okay.
So at the start of the series of like G1 and like getting introduced, trying to like make the show and try to like, did you ever think once like the show wasn't going to do good at all? Or did you think it was like just a hit right off the bat?
Count the wins. No, I don't think any of us thought that the show was going to do as well as it did. And for a long time, you know, in our business, if you have a show that makes it to the second or third season, you're thrilled. And we liked the cast, we liked the show, but we had no idea because we never got the feedback. As Peter and I will tell you, we never got any fan letters. The studio, we did, but the studio never gave them to us, so we had no feedback. So we thought the show was going to go nowhere. Yeah. So it was a good surprise. Thank you.
Look what we got here.
Oh my gosh, we need it. You want me to tell them the story?
Please do.
Okay. Every time I went to the restroom, right? Yesterday, today, and I
speak very well when I say there was no way.
No way. Great to see you in the room.
Thank you. And I speak very well when I say,
Oh, hey, Megatron. At your service, Unleash.
between the games, the movies, the cartoons, all the excuse me, what do you have that stands out to you as a favorite Megatron moment, or like favorite line? Like what stuck with you over the years?
Boy, you know, there's been so many episodes, but it's interesting you mention the games because the games can be very intense, very hard because you usually do a line 10 times or 20 times. And so that was, I think it was kind of a double-edged sword because you could take like a Megatron line and try and bend it a little bit, you know, and such pathetic nonsense, such heroic nonsense, such plain nonsense, such, yes, I like such heroic nonsense. But, you know, I think the games were good for that, is that you could play with the line over and over again. The show, you kind of just went through. But yeah, I'd say the games and just about any of his lines were fun to do. Do you have a favorite one?
Oh,
Such heroic nonsense.
that's always my favorite.
That was my favorite.
Okay, so unfortunately we have to cut it here. I am so sorry.
you
We
want
have to
more?
cut it. You want to do one more? Okay.
I'm sorry.
He wants to do one more. Go ahead and do. You'll be the last question. You'll be the last question.
How do you think of the other mechanism your and voice acting like the G1 other language version and the other Megatron like the G4 or the Armada or the other series? How do you think of them?
You know, just the fact that they're both Transformers, I think gives you an opportunity to fiddle with them. But for my money, of course, and being a competitor and an actor, I would have to say G1 number one. But, you know, I think all shows have their validity, but really, it's up to you. You, the fans, so you decide what you like, what you enjoy, and let Hasbro win. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mascot of the group is actually Willie. Can you believe that? Yeah, we can get Willie to say they got the t-shirts back there and everything. You see those t-shirts? Those are all Willie. You want to say hi to the well collectors?
Well, I will have to say hello to all of the wheelies from Megatron. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming, and thank you all. All of you, all Megatrons. Frank Welker. Thank you so much.
All right, that's the end of our show. Thank you all so much for coming. God bless you. Good night.